Blog Talk Radio.
Yeah. My baby monster, my baby mama wants me to be a sponsor. I think she may want me to want her, but I just want to raise my baby without this chick acting crazy, without her using the babies as yet another instrument to enslave me. I also wonder if she really crazy. I think the whole situation
It's been a long 8 years since I had my first two. One pretty in pink and the other baby blue. I really miss you, but your mommy, well, forget it. I tried to pick you up the other day, she wasn't with it. Matter of fact, she kinda shitted on our time together, but forget it. Cause God forbid I tell the truth, cause everybody's a critic. Don't say that and make her look bad. But if she didn't do it, then I wouldn't have to ask. But daddy take the weight, cause daddy make the cake. Your mom be getting it poppin' like the Air Force in Kuwait. When I come to get my little queen, your mommy's always eyes me. Jealous of the fact me and my new shorty clean. But we happy when we leave, despite what she believes. She don't understand the importance of a man in your life. It'll help you be a better wife or husband in the end. But until then,
my baby monster, my baby mama wants me to be a sponsor. I think she may want me to want her, but I just want to raise my baby without this chick acting crazy, without her using the baby as yet another instrument to enslave me. I also wonder if she really crazy. I think the whole situation is shady.
Can let's flip the dogs of war. If you didn't want me, take 'em, what you pack is back for? What you call a cap for? Why you slamming the door? What you had a baby with me for? If you didn't want to share, do you remember I was there both times? I saw they eyes open for the first time both times. You carried 9 months, I carried my whole life. Or when we started fucking back when you was my wife. But then you chose another life, and baby I did too. How come everything you say always pertains to you? Why's it always about how you feel about him taking him? I'm his father, who the hell you was expecting it? You disrespecting it, you constantly injecting it. Your negativity, that's based on your rejection it makes me unaffectionate, cause it's a deficit. And I am not protecting it, that much is evident.
My baby monster, my baby mama wants me to be a sponsor. I think she may want me to want her, but I just want to raise my baby without this chick acting crazy, without her using the baby as yet another instrument to enslave me. I also wonder if she really crazy. I think the whole situation is shady.
Many moons from now, when these babies get old, they're gonna realize that a lot of time you stole, and they're gonna wanna know why you had to make it so difficult for their daddy spend time to buy a coat for 'em. You wanna die for 'em, but I'd rather live for 'em. I wanna teach them how to live and maybe transform the perception of our people worldwide. Have pride and ride, and if they have to rise above all the bullshit that comes from me and you. I only wanna be with them, but I got to see you too, so let's make a deal. You find a way to work through your issues on the real, and I will pledge to know the legend, how to make you feel, so I can get the parenting and flipping this McLaren in. At least you not on heroin, cause that would be ill, but not much more than I seen before.
My baby monster, my baby mama wants me to be a sponsor. I think she may want me to want her, but I just want to raise my baby without this chick acting crazy, without her using the baby as yet another instrument to enslave me. I also wonder if she really crazy. I think the whole situation is shady.
Yeah. So, moral of the story is, for what it's worth, we should make it work. If you can't, then don't. So, if she take your baby, at least try to find out where the baby is. Chicks, stop using your baby as collateral, it's not fair. And baby, please forgive mommy and daddy for all the bullshit. Cause in the end, you the most important thing.
Yes, you are now tuned in to episode 12 of Super Heru Radio. I am your host, Aseer the Duke of Tears. Also, always here with my brother, Saga Shad Ali. What's up, homie?
Peace, King of the Brother Fan.
Alright. We good, man. We good. That was Baby Monster for those people that didn't know the song. inspired by true life events, wink, wink. And if anybody wants to copy it, they can get it on iTunes, as well as other songs from the album that myself and the Empress have out called The Birth Record. So, another Monday, y'all, another moon day. Mad shit happened from the last time we spoke to now. I hope everybody's been taking notes, paying attention. You know, a lot of the shit, and I don't want to, toot our own horn, but at the same time I do. Like, a lot of the stuff we build on this show and the people call in, we build upon, winds up manifested in the world almost like the next day, man. It's getting crazy. It's getting real crazy with how kind of on point a lot of the things that are happening or we be building on actually comes to fruition. So, this is also all about the greater glory of the Most High. We always give respect to it for bestowing the ability for those of us that are in tune to be able to have that foresight, to be able to see the future before it happens, write it down, send somebody back to tell the rest of the people who don't know, and then wait for the judgment, which is kind of where we are right now, How's your week then, brother?
So far, so good. Good weather. Positive energy, positive vibes. You can never complain with that.
That's what's up. How's everything in Brooklyn?
We actually had, the weather's been like back and forth for a while now. Like we have, a pretty sunny day, upper 60s, upper 70s or so, and then like the night will be real cold. Like it'll feel like, winter again. So, just coupling with that, that brings a lot of, sometimes, you might have a, sore throat, things of that nature, just from just, the craziness within the weather, which in turn, also spikes the craziness within the people. Like a couple shows back, we was talking about the shooting in Times Square. Well, apparently they got some of the guys associated with this thing, and they recovered the weapon that was used, and that same weapon was used to kill like 2 people in the Bronx. So, like a couple weeks earlier than that.
Exactly. So again, what does that say? That says, one, crime is not solved. Crimes are not being solved. You know what I'm saying? Definitely not with detective work. 2, people, again, as much as there's gun laws and everybody's scared with guns and all of that, it seems these guns have a way of always turning up, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And then in that, exactly, it's always the situation, They, funny thing about guns, too, I don't know if anybody knows this, but there's a company called Trigicom, and Trigicom produces what they call Jesus rifles, and they're the biggest army weapons contractor to supply guns and stuff like that to the various divisions of the armed forces. But the reason why they call them Jesus rifles, right, is because on every rifle, because the president of the company, the guy who founded it, was a Christian fundamentalist, but he was one of these cult Christians who came from a family of like the snake charmer Christians, what I'm talking about? The white folks that be real deep in the bayous and shit, and they be handling snakes and let the snakes bite them so they could prove that they have a power over the devil.
Yeah.
Anyway, he grew up in that society. That's tight. He grew up in that society in which he basically is a devout Jesus worshiper. So he's so devout and he's such a Christian soldier that what he does, or what he decided to do, is that on all of the guns that they mass produce in the name of Christ, they put Bible verses on each gun. You heard? So that means, but remember, the war that they're fighting in Iraq, Afghanistan, they're fighting against Muslims.
Mm-hmm.
You see? So when George W. Bush Jr. said that he was fighting a crusade, against good and evil,
what you have to understand is that there's always a material aspect and then there's always the spiritual aspect of what's going on. So literally what's happening is that these soldiers that be listening to all types of other crazy music when they be killing these Iraqis and these Afghanis and everybody else, they're actually shooting them with Bible verses as well. You see what I'm saying? On an ethereal level. So when they say that this war is not about religion, it's about money or whatever else, yeah, that's true too, but in the end, the religion is the part that is creating the most friction. Like, nobody wants to be blown up by a suicide bomber, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But it's no coincidence that all of these suicide bombers happen to be Arabs. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Or people that they would consider Arabic. Like, even the white Taliban people that the Americans, they call it in America, them niggas ain't suicide bombers. You know what I'm saying? So again, we say all of this to say that just when you think it gets ill, it gets iller. You know what I mean? The fact that, again, they're using Bible verses, you know what I mean, to go over there and put on these guns, right? To the point where they even said that back in World War II, they used to have this thing where they used to put, like, phrases on in bombs and stuff before they drop them, like F you Hitler or whatever else. They banned that because they said that that was too disrespectful to the enemy, right? So they let that go, but instead now these dudes who allegedly represent a secular country, they will allow, again, guns and ammunition contained with, again, Bible verses to go over there and kill Arabs. You know what I'm saying? So essentially, when we say that this war is another extension of the same war that's been going on since the Crusades, you know, we can show and prove that by instances just like that, you know. Also, last week we talked about people should do the knowledge and should start watching out for different celestial events. You know what I mean? Remember we telling everybody. Last week we gave out the coordinates of a G5 class entity that is running through the music industry right now, whatever, and how it's incarnated through it, whatever. And we gave the coordinates where that came from. Well, the next day, if anybody was paying attention to the news, the very next day, NASA talked about how they started receiving strange transmissions, strange radio waves or whatever from the section of space, coincidentally, that we talked about, that quadrant. You know what I'm saying? Which is the Vulpecula constellation. You know, that's where a lot of these G5 or so-called entities manifest from, which basically are non-physical entities that have malefic intents, but because their part of space is folding in on itself, they are choosing to incarnate here through people and through things, so that way they can exist physically again, you know. The funniest thing behind that, though, was that maybe 2 days after the radio transmission report, I turned on the TV to see that a meteor, allegedly, had crash-landed not too far from NASA, where they got the actual radio wave recording from. Now, anybody can go on YouTube and type in, if you want to hear what one of these planets or like transmissions from Jupiter or whatever we want to sound like, just go to the YouTube and type in sounds from Jupiter, sounds from Uranus, sounds from Mars, and you'll hear it. You'll hear what they sound like. Now, this is not the type of radio transmission that these guys got, but the same technology basically applies. So they basically kind of tone that down, and they ain't really trying to really get in on that. I haven't heard anything else about that since it happened, and that was maybe 4 days ago. So, you know, Big Brother's doing his thing to keep everybody stupid. You know, not paying attention.
You see there's a uproar in the news, you know, basically unfolding with the whole thing with NASA and how they're basically downsizing the space program and these things, and how, you know, they're outsourcing them to private, you know, aeronautics companies and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So when that barrier.
Mm-hmm.
because this is going to be the new push. The new push now is a galactic America. We can't get shit straight on. We can't get shit straight on planet Earth. So we need to take the show on the road and go into space and try to, create the United solar systems of America or some bullshit. But either way, that's funny because they was just bigging up this guy, the president, for giving more money to the space station, to the space program. So it's real funny now that he's talking about outsourcing. Now, one thing you don't want what you don't want outsourced is people who have the ability to fly and put things in space above your head. You don't want other people to have that responsibility over you. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that America again is doing that, what is really going on? If anybody saw that movie Live Free and Die Hard, if anybody has ever seen that movie Live Free and Die Hard, you'll know what a fire sale is. And that's essentially what's going on in the United States right now. You're having a big fire sale where everything is marked down to its lowest prices and everything has got to go. You know what I'm saying? Everything in the warehouse has got to go on some crazy Eddie shit. So they already parceled off your automotive industry, right? They already parceled off your, well, really, to me, it started with the banking industry. No, actually, keep it real, it started with the music industry when they started putting people in jail for downloading and shit.
2000.
That's right. That's when I kind of realized things were going to get bad. And then right around, because people remember, around 98, 99, you started hearing about all these mergers. Then 2000, they start talking about how they got to start locking people up for downloading music. But then I still be seeing niggas selling bootleg CDs on the street.
Mm-hmm.
Then they started messing with the banks. So now the banks have been locked down. The automotive industry is locked down. The healthcare industry is locked down. The only thing left is what? The entertainment industry, the military. No, the military is the last to go. So people should really get ready for that too. And if you have problems, if anybody has problems with what's going on or whatever, there's a lot of channels on a material plane that people can do. There's things that you can do, like those people who believe in voting, because not everybody that's metaphysical and metaphysically consciousness, not everybody's trying to fill out paperwork, not everybody's trying to do all that, but then there's a lot of people that are. And it doesn't make them any less conscious or any less relevant. So if there's things that you want to do on a civic level, you know what I mean, within that fiction, you can try, I'm all for the college trying and shit, because then when people see that everything you trying ain't coming to nothing because everybody that you write letters to is on the tape, then it raises the consciousness of the person, so that way they can say, well, at least I was off that, I ain't just talking shit about how these people are going to do things or whatever. So, there's a lot of things you could do. You could write your assemblymen, your congressmen, do all of that type of stuff if that's what you feel you want to be heard, And if you don't think it works, look at these Tea Party niggas.
Yeah.
These Tea Party dudes is wildin'. They said they had a party. They said they had a tea party where they was going in, and the people got so whipped into a frenzy. Everybody started saying, all the white folk in the audience started screaming, get this nigga out, get that nigga out, get that nigga out. You know what I'm saying? Same thing. I saw an interview and they had a black man. He was like the only black man at this Tea Party convention. And they asked him, do you feel out of place? And he was like, yeah, I do. but he said, but I'm against what this dude is doing,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of indifferent to the whole political process because, we understand what it is. And there's more than one way to get your political view across, But a lot of people are still caught up in thinking, they think that the difference that they need to make is in
government in everything else except themselves. You know, like it's real easy for niggas to picket, you know, and cry about their rights and things like that. But the same people, a lot of these same people that's picketing is beating up their kids, is, you know what I mean, cheating on their wives and everything else. So, I mean, you know, it is what it is. Also, another tidbit of information, I was researching, like, but you know when people talk about, you know, the people who's running the world right now and all this other stuff, they always talk about the main people, the same, you know what I mean? It's always the same people they're talking about. They're not talking about other families, you know? They always talk about Rothschilds, Rockefeller, blah, blah, blah. So I started thinking, I was like, well, who in the world is against these people openly, you know? Like, what country, like, is every country down with the whole thing, with this NWO thing or whatever? And if so, like, how do they make that work? I know they got different treaties, Kyoto, Versailles, Agenda 21, all that type of stuff, right? But just because these meetings were held in this country does not necessarily mean that those countries are down with what the meetings are about. You know what I'm saying? So I found it real interesting that the only country that the biggest opponent right now to the so-called New World Order is Japan.
Oh, word?
Yeah. To the point where the Japanese had a whole inquiry about 9/11. The Japanese government had an inquiry about 9/11, and they broadcast it on Japanese TV. And the consensus was that the whole shit was a scam, and that they were duped into being down with this whole they duped into being down with it, and that's when they started pulling their troops out of Iraq. Then to the point where when the referendum came for everybody to get the RFID chip, Japan is like one of the only nations that's like, we're not chipping any of our citizens. And if we chip them, it's going to be our chip. It ain't going to be y'all chip. Our chip is better than y'all nigga shit anyway. You know what I mean? Because we the ones who make y'all shit. So based on that, I find it funny that when I did the nod to the dates, that after they had that thing, that's when that tsunami hit them niggas over there. Remember?
Yeah.
The other people that are against, well, kind of against them too, is China. Because the Chinese High Command, or what they call the Chinese Secret Government, they are, as it stands right now, they are kind of the reason why America's going through all of this type of stuff. People don't know that some of that stimulus money was basically old Chinese money that the United States government procured under false pretenses. And the Chinese called in the note on June 25th, which again happened to be the same day that Michael Jackson wound up being right. Right. Blessed today. Yeah, that's when he got tooled up. So, you know, again, you know, celebrities are just basically pawns of distraction. So when everybody's focusing on that, that's when they had to scramble. And if you can look at what happened from then to now, you can kind of see the hidden tendrils behind what's going on. Because, see, the reason why you have a fire sale is because your company or your corporation goes bankrupt. So what happens is when that happens, everything goes into receivership and then has to get sold off and then pay back your creditors. We, the people, are the original creditors, but we, the people, are not the title holders anymore. You know what I'm saying? So the title holders, which is the United States government, then wrote the debt off and put the debt on the original people, which is when the birth certificates and all that stuff had to come into play as a means to keeping track of the assets or those people who are accumulated to the debt. That's why you don't go to jail for stealing, because stealing is not against the law. Theft is against the law. Theft is when you take something of monetary value that is evidence of the debt of someone else's financial situation. You see? So when you rob, let's say if you rob a bank for $10,000, you are not going to jail for stealing the money. You're going to jail for stealing the evidence of somebody else's debt. You see what I'm saying? Therefore, debt is the basis of corporate politics, which then becomes the governing principle of national politics, because there's no such thing as nations anymore. It's only political corporations. If those people don't believe what we're saying, go to the UN website and look at the list of nations. You will not see the United States on that list. You will see them on the list of NGOs, which is a national government organization. You see? So, people should do the knowledge to that. Especially now dealing with the fact that the healthcare thing. Another thing with that healthcare or the death care bill that this dude just put out, there's a thing in it, well, actually analogous to that. The president of the corporate United States just signed this bill that is now protected through the new healthcare thing that he had passed, that basically champions the rights of gay people over the rights of kind of anybody else when it comes to hospital visits. So this is done on the pretense that, if you were a gay person and you were with this person for many years and then this person gets sick or something happens to them and you go to the hospital, the family don't want you there and they can kick you out. Now they're saying that they can't do that. But see, the problem, again, is the language and how it's worded, because the way it's worded is basically saying that anybody has the right now to go up and check you in the hospital, whether you want them to or not. You see what I'm saying? So long as the family, so long as they're connected to you in some way. So that could be the police. See what I'm saying? That could be the FBI. That could be the CDC. It could be whoever. You see what I'm saying? It could be a hitman.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Somebody who don't got your best interest at hand.
Exactly. But again, y'all let them do this. You know what I'm saying? When I say y'all, I'm talking about those people who was willing to support feelings, over good judgment, and would rather just have anything than really have something of substance and value. You know what I'm saying? But again, all of that was indicative to the slave mentality that we've all been subject to for all of these years. And thinking that any little scrap we get should be, lauded over everything else. Like Paul Mooney said, when people asked him about the president, he said, well, why should I be so happy and jumping up for joy? He said, these motherfuckers are going to have 43. You know what I'm saying? And yes, as conscious people and, with the secret history of how things happen, we know that half of them people wasn't really as white as they think, and there was people before, the country, and we know all of that. However, the masses, believe whatever comes out of that TV, and these are the ones who basically come at those when you ask them certain questions, that pertain to these matters. They wind up getting defensive. The defensive aspect that comes out of them is the actual program, which then by degree is an entity, because it's altering their perception of what, if they sat down and thought about, would be correct. But the ego of wanting to have the first black president or the first woman president, or, you know what I'm saying? That breeds a certain degree of blindness in the person, because you want something more than you need it. You know what I mean? Like if McCain was president right now, there'd be no America. You know what I mean? But because this guy's in there, everybody else in the world is like, okay, well, we'll let it rock a little longer.
Mm-hmm.
But the Bible say everything is going to turn against these people, you know? Just like all the other books. And they even know that they're going to go. Yet, they ain't going to go. Don't think they're going to go and just leave everything nice and pristine for you. You know what I mean?
Scorched earth policy.
Say that again?
Scorched earth policy.
Yes. Can you tell them what a scorched earth policy is, brother?
Basically, what that is when one movement or one group is on their way out, what they do is destroy everything or put everything in a constant of destruction for the new group of people coming in to then in turn inherit destruction.
That kind of sounds like what happened with this guy when he became president.
Yeah.
From the last guy. That kind of sounds like what happened when they went into that country and killed all them people. It don't even matter which one. Whatever country they in, they doing it. You know what I mean?
Pretty much.
So it's like, it's a continuous thing. You know, that's why with him signing that, also as a symbol of that, they brought Anubis down the harbor in New York. You know, which again they did that with the same Anubis in London as a ritual when they brought it down the River Thames, and to show and prove how we talked about on the Dark Plasma tape that Michael Jackson was a version of Anubis. The only other structure they did that with was a symbol of Michael Jackson down the River Thames from the History album when he put that out. They brought him through the same way, or a idol of him like that. So them bringing Anubis to New York like that is basically a symbol of Anubis going into the underworld, which means that that section of the country is now charged with that type of dark plasma energy. But they are working it from the perspective of Luciferian. So they are inverting all of the natural alchemical substances that are attached with the visual perception of watching this ancient Comedian archetype of Anubis, right, which really is an archetype of melanin itself. So in their ritual, they're using Anubis as destructive and to say, okay, we're bringing this through because now we're about to, go into the next phase of our shit. But what they don't realize is happening is that the very essence of them bringing it like that is creating a visual perception within us, those who understand symbolically what is being done. Therefore, we can be empowered by that image and begin to prepare for what they may try to flip through this Anubis energy, because it's Anubis it's Ampu to us, it's Anubis to them, right? But at the same time, it's an image of post dynastic Kemet. You know what I mean? Because again, Anubis is the energy that brings you into the Amenta. He prepares the body and, get you embalmed and get you ready to go. Anubis is Batman who lives in Gotham City, So essentially, they brought Batman to Gotham. You know what I'm saying? Like they put everybody in the midst, So now that we're all in that, and remember also, based on that earthquake in Chile, there's 6 minutes shaved off of every day, which means technically there's 6 seconds shaved off of every minute in that day. You see what I'm saying? So them bringing him through and bringing him like this through the water now, which is the meme, which is the another symbol of melanin, you see, is now preparing for whatever they're gonna, bring through, So look out for sudden explosions. Look out for things happening in the subway. You know what I'm saying? Look out for anything dealing with like construction mishaps, anything dealing with the underworld. Anytime you see construction people digging something or whatever, that's a Plutonian, Anubis type of act. Therefore, every act that we do symbolically represents an aspect of the seen and unseen world simultaneously. And this is the energy that they're playing with in terms of perception, you know. Like, I got one image of him where he's coming, where they bringing him on the tugboat, and you see the Statue of Liberty behind it. So now you got the Statue of Liberty, right, which is Columbia, which is Minerva, which is Semiramis, right, which essentially then is in our language, that would be like Aset, you know, Hathor, you know, Nephthys, things like that. So how we see it is how it really is. Yet how it really is based on the perception of everybody that's sharing in the image. So because they have TV and writing, they can write out what they say it is, and that's what everybody believes it is. But essentially, it's a lot deeper than that, just like everything is. You know. So again, pay attention to a lot of the symbols that's going on. This is also evident in that thing that happened in Iceland.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? The black cloud, the black smoke, the ash. These white people are so money hungry, they trying to fly under the shit. How you gonna fly under under volcanic smoke? Nigga? Like, how you do that? What kind of plane you got when you can't even keep the planes in the air? How you gonna fly? How you gonna, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But
Polish plane just went down. They don't care, you know. Regardless of, you know, the op thing with that, but still, like, never seemed like a good time to be flying in no airplane.
Nah, actually, not right now. You know, that volcanic ash has elements of beryllium. It has elements of idamonium. It has elements of primordial particles that contain hydrogen-type gases that haven't been breathed by people on the surface in like 1 billion years.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, again, just as they will try to fly a plane under it to make money, there will still be people who are willing to get on that plane and trust that these people can fly under some type of natural shit that they can't even see through.
and get them somewhere safely.
You know, this is how much faith people have in their oppressor, man. This is how much faith people have in artificial technology, to the point that they would still risk their lives and be like, you know, if it happens, so be it. It's like you want to be taken out. You know, you want to go. So that's cool, you know, but say that. You see? But when confronted with any type of, not even rational, clinical analysis of a particular or any given situation, most of the best and smartest people come off dumb. You know what I'm saying? You know, and that's Anubis too, you know. Not, you know, being in the black, not really understanding, you know, your perception because you think something's going on. Thereby, anything you see Ampu do in any Comesian glyph is what alchemically your melanin is doing for you. You know, these things weren't just archetypical representations of energies. They were archetypical representations of alchemical processes that give birth to a certain type of energy that then can become incarnated through. Once a person has a clear understanding of the symbology and the simulacra and the yearning for commonality in the sense of being able to be building with somebody on the same page without conflict. It's possible, man. Like, people act like it's impossible to not fight or to not, argue. Even when me and my queen go through things, like arguments, like halfway through it somewhere we realize that it's sometimes it be warranted, sometimes it don't be, but whatever it is not powerful enough to offset what we are trying to build. But most people have no patience or tolerance for shit. So they get caught up in, wanting things from people that people are may not be equipped to give. But, that's just one way to look at it. I'm not saying that, people need to. I'm saying that this is what's going on. Show and prove. In Thailand, the soldiers have locked down a financial district because the people is trying to run up in there and get their money out the banks that done been foreclosed on by Barclays. The same Barclays that's working with Jay-Z to get all of the rest of them people kicked out of Park Slope in Brooklyn. Same Barclays that insured the goddamn slave ship, the good ship Jesus, that was piloted by John Hardy Hawkins, you know what I'm saying, to bring niggas over here and get them bound up in the false representation of Jesus being a God, when really these niggas was talking about the boat. Niggas was talking about, Jesus was coming to take me home. Of course, in 2010, you think they talking about the same Jesus. No, these niggas was talking about the boat that their ancestors told them was the niggas that brought them over here, based on them believing that their brothers that was on the other side of the water was still loyal to them. So when they was singing for Jesus, oh, Jesus, come and take me home, they wasn't always singing about what people perceive as the Lord. Yet people don't read, and there's now a whole movement I'm hearing in the metaphysical community where niggas is saying, history is not important. Like, what? Like, okay, white supremacist history is not important. I agree with that. But if you're saying that history is important, that means that you're saying that the memory is not important. And if you're saying that the memory is not important, okay, I can see that on a material realm. I can look at that from an existential perspective, or let's say on a material perspective, to say, okay, if this is about harping on things that are no longer relevant to us, yeah, get rid of that. Yet, God don't make no junk. You know what I'm saying? Therefore, everything comes back into being with one point or the other. And I thought that the whole purpose of us, learning about ourselves was to know our true history. And I don't just mean in books in terms of being black people. I mean even like genetic history. I'm talking about, DNA, like galactic history, things that matter, things that the enemy is using to kick our ass all over this damn planet, yo. You don't hear him talking about that shit.
Of course. Because that's important.
You know what I'm saying?
Like,
and then you got the other side that's so atypical and anal. They say, okay, well, it's his story, just represents his, and now you're talking about the patriarchy over the matrix. You see what I'm saying? All of that is distraction. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care if all black people choose to call themselves more or not. Me personally, I don't care. I know what I am calling myself, and I know what those terms mean for me. So if I can express that and other people agree with me how I see it, then I can then say that we agree that this is relevant. You know what I'm saying? It's just as relevant as us not calling ourselves whatever we call ourselves. But it's what you choose to give your mental and spiritual energy to. Therefore, you got people that's talking spiritual to people who only deal with material shit. And then you got material people trying to talk spiritual, you know what I'm saying, to material people who are striving to be spiritual. You know, it's this enigmatic conundrum that keeps revolving around itself. It's the Ouroboros. It's the serpent swallowing its tail. You know, it's the wag the dog. It's the, you know, it's that entity-like distraction that a lot of us get caught up in. And I'm just saying, you know, that shit is whack. Oh, I remember last week we were talking about the Oprah Winfrey book. So I got a lot of emails. I meant to tell you when we talked earlier. I got a lot of emails from people with their suggestions. We got some real ill ones. Like, one dude was like, Benson. Do you remember Benson from Robert Guillaume?
Oh, word?
Yeah, that nigga. The niggas was just throwing out mad shit, like, mad random shit. But one sister got it right, so we're gonna definitely send out a joint to you. I'm gonna give her that. Yeah, sister named September. She got it right, and I'm gonna give you her email so you can mail her a joint too.
Okay.
And she hit it. She said it was none other than a man named Michael King. That was his original name, but he later changed his name to Martin after he was inducted into his Prince Hall stuff, and that's when he decided to take on the mantle of Martin Luther, the reformist. So that became his role. And through the years, he did a lot of things to engender black people into a certain mode of thinking that was then championed by the establishment, which then to us should have been a clear sign that this was not the way to go. Because anything that they support of ours has to be for their benefit. You see? So letting them whip us and hit us with stuff and convincing us that in some way that was cool, we were in some way, in his words, trying to transcend the violent act, to be so defiant to say that just because you hit me and kill me doesn't mean I have to come to your level and do the same to you. But this is the same man who at his sermons on Sundays would then preach about God saying an eye for an eye. You see what I'm saying? This is the duplicitousness of the time that this individual was born, and it was also indicative of the mind state that was being altered in people in the movement at the time. The movement about original black people getting theirs because we was the most shitted on in the whole country. How did it now become about gay rights? That's what people need to start asking themselves. How did it become about black women being independent and not needing a man to do anything, and now they bitching about how they can't have no man? How did it become that? How did it become, black men willing to die for their families to black men literally French kissing each other on the basketball court for a score? Like, how did it turn into all of that? It turned into that because the basis of the message that was given with a hook in the bait. It wasn't about getting people to be nonviolent. It was about people allowing themselves to be killed. It was another form of depopulation. This does not mean that he didn't inspire people, and we as a black people learned a lot and all that. I'm not disputing any of that, but that's all niggas want to talk about. Niggas don't want to talk about how the negative effects of that shit. And in dealing with the negative of people who talk about and champion and who will want to fight you about saying some shit about Martin Luther King don't even know nothing about him. They don't even know his real name was Michael. Brother Daoud was the one who brought it and said brought it to the light to the community that on the same day they killed him, they shot his mother in the church while she was playing an organ, and then drowned his brother in the pool. So now we say, okay, Oprah is this dude's daughter, prove it. I don't have to prove it. You prove it. I dare anybody to prove that it's not true. You see what I'm saying? Prove to me that it ain't true. You know, I'm tired of people always want to come to us, people like us in the community, and want us to always prove the shit we talking about. And these people just be talking bullshit. These people just be saying whatever they want to say. And people just be like, that's what it is. Mm-hmm. No. You prove that Oprah ain't Martin Luther King's daughter. Prove it. You know? Prove, let's keep it even realer. Prove that Rodney King ain't his illegitimate son. For the bitch that stabbed him when he had the book signing in New York. And when she stabbed him, she said, I'm doing this because he's leading black people into the fires of hell. Mm-hmm. People don't know that history. People don't know that. See, as soon as I start talking that shit, I get a low battery on the phone. But I just charge this shit up.
And we all know about, his infidelity was, spoken about, briefly, but yet still, spoken about. And, there's the stories of J. Edgar Hoover trying to use that against him to, famous.
Yeah, that's when he sent him that suicide letter.
Yeah.
If anybody see the they sent him a letter where they was going to make him kill himself. They said that's the only way you're going to do it. I got a copy of it. Matter of fact, I showed it on the DVD on the lecture we did called Dark Plasma Synthesis 3. No, excuse me. That one in End Time Cover Stories. We went in on that. They was trying to get him to kill him. People don't know. He won a Nobel Prize too. Like people don't know that when he reached that level in which he was then approached to go one way or the other, a lot of the books and stuff I read about the situation basically says that he more or less went into the Knights Malta thing. So that put him under the jurisdiction of the Pope. You know what I'm saying? So there was a whole thing with that, with the Vatican involvement as well. But Hoover was blackmailing him. Matter of fact, they talking about coming out with a movie about him, talking about all the shorties he used to flip.
Oh,
Martin Luther King.
Really?
Yeah. They a movie coming out about it. And
it's gonna be like how to be Martin.
Yeah, it's gonna show him as he was, that he was a man. You know how they do when they ready to shit on you in film. And so, it's like what they did with Ray. But yeah, she was basically taken. She was basically the one that was moved, and he had a lot of different women that he was with. And Coretta and them knew, and, people done wrote about it, so I ain't saying nothing, that Steve Coakley ain't said. It's just that we are at a point now where, based on a lot of the zodiacal stuff that's going on, like we talked about this season of Saturn, Libra being in Saturn, and Jupiter being in Pisces, the effects of that then amplify when it comes to things like icons and images that people have put on pedestals for themselves to worship, whether they realize they're doing it or not. And he basically is the biggest one. He was a program, and allowed himself to be that. And again, it doesn't say that he wasn't a brilliant man and he inspired people and all of that. Yet, he still was told to do that, because if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't even be talking right now. America wouldn't even exist the way, because we burned it all down. You had white folks garrisoning themselves in their communities. These became then later quote gated communities when they moved the same concept to Georgia when they were creating the concept of Atlantis. That whole Georgia thing was a op, getting people to move there. But again, that's another show. But dealing with the Oprah Martin Luther King thing, essentially, she was just like one of their legitimate daughters taken away, and raised somewhere else. In the book, the woman says that, she was sworn to secrecy. But when you see the interviews with her, and on Gossip, I think they got a picture of some old dude they say is the one. And then they got another guy who is her living father, whose name she has, right? But she don't fuck with him at all. She only give money to the mother and things like that. So again, this woman, how you got 3 different fathers? You know what I mean? You got the guy that she alludes to in the book, who is the real guy, and you got the guy who gave her the name, and then you got some old nigga that they just probably got some pictures somewhere. It's okay what you say is him. Again, anytime the story is murky like that, they lying to you.
Mhm.
Ask yourself why she's in the position that she's in. You think they just let anybody get there? If that be the case, then we'd be there.
Yep.
Some of our listeners would be there. Some of our listeners that's listening right now are there. Because I'm peeping game too. A lot of the mainstream industry or whatever is listening and really paying attention to people who have that consciousness, awareness, aura about them. So yeah, that's Oprah, and Rodney King is the other one. And look what he sparked. You know what I'm saying?
Can we just get along with it?
Exactly. He sparked the riot. What happened when Martin Luther King got killed? It was a riot. Right? That was 1991, right? That's 1991. So that's the same number reversed. So they're showing you, man. These people just don't come out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man.
And the resemblance is uncanny.
It's uncanny. The picture that September sent us was from a young Oprah. She looked like, damn, that's your daddy. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's your daddy, that, you know what I mean? Like, for real. Stop crying. But that's why she is how she is. She got to be like that. They went on her the same way they went on Malcolm X's grandson. Look what they made him act like he did.
Mm-hmm.
Malcolm winds up burning. And so, in essence, symbolically, Malcolm killed his wife, Betty. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Symbolically, because his grandson killed his grandmother in a fire, allegedly. And then he gets locked up and then becomes the head of the Bloods? How does that happen? Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? Like people are not asking them the pertinent questions, because these are the things that are affecting us and our children, because our children are growing up and are exposed to other children who are the products of all of this shit and are the moonchilds created around all of this drama and bullshit. If you don't know who your son or your daughter is interested in, you better find out who their family is, where they come from, all that shit. You better find out, because you have little biological weapons that are being bred to be hosts for entities and shit, and they are having sex en masse in school. You know what I mean? Getting dressed to go to school, to have orgies all day. That's what's going on.
Doing drugs in school.
Doing drugs, all of that. And you want me to send my child? But the same state government wants me to then send my child back there. You got motherfuckers running up in school, killing people.
Mm-hmm. Driving cars through schools.
I didn't think that when I was watching Higher Learning or what's the other one, School Days, that this shit was like really real like that. And that shit was tame. I didn't, when I saw Basketball Diaries and he shot up the classroom, I didn't think of doing that. You understand? You have children that watch it and they think of being that. They look at Gaga, they want to be Gaga, yo. They want to be Beyonce. These people are Satanists. These people are part, and they're not even high ones. They're like, they're like the gum on the bottom of the shoe. You know what I mean? That's how they get into the club. That's how they get into the rituals. You know what I mean? That's how they get brought. You know, they got on the Queen just told me they got on the box up right now, performing with Jay-Z, the scene on there, and she got a black hat on. When you look at the ring she got a big goat head on her middle finger. That's the Saturn finger. Again, Saturn in Libra. You see what I'm saying? It's the same energy. It's these dudes trying to mask themselves and act like they're using our collective energy without telling us that's what they're using it for. And they blowing up. But then they just telling us that the reason why we don't have nothing is because we don't apply ourselves. We don't have no jobs. But then when we say that there's no jobs, they say, oh, well, you know, if there wasn't no jobs, then nobody would be working. So there has to be something. You just have to want it bad. So that means, again, through translation, I must be ready to what? Be a garbage man. Not even be a garbage man, because that's actually a great job. I'm talking about shit like cleaning toilets and all of the, you know, the menial shit that white folks like to see us do for them. And black folks like to get in position to make black folks do for them. Because white folks and black folks is on that white man shit. And they don't want to keep it real. But that's what's going on. Now, white man shit is not about skin color. Nope. It is. They on that white shit. These niggas want to, Stacey Dash getting her ass whipped by all these white men. As many black men in the hood with good jobs and shit would have just done anything for this woman. Not every black man is getting pussy like that. Not every black man is out there pimping hoes like that. That's not happening. Raphael Bouvet have these white babies. This dude been cheating on her for 5 of the 6 years they've been married. Now she complaining.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Kind of like all of these chicks doing movies like Something New or The Family That Prays, but she always shitting on a black man or always cheating on him with a white man and some bullshit, and they act like and then wonder why she don't get no good roles. It's because they know you a traitor. They playing you too.
Yeah.
They say, oh, she's a traitor. She doesn't like that. So let's shit on her even more. That's how they are. And white folks, y'all know that's listening. Y'all know y'all like that.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all know y'all get down like that. They do, because I've seen y'all do it. You know? Also, real quick, the Vatican though forgave John Lennon.
Oh, the
for saying
Vatican
that shit
forgave?
about him. Yeah, for saying that shit about him being bigger than Jesus.
At the same time, he was just, the Pope was talking with 8 people that got molested on the Isle of Malta.
He was talking to them on the Isle of Malta, or they was molested on the Isle of Malta?
Well, they were molested on the Isle of Malta, but then he went to Malta recently, I believe last week, and he spoke to...
Oh, so he went after the ritual. He said, okay, I'll fuck them now. I'll come and make them feel better. That's what he do. That's what they do. People, that's the other thing about it, G. These people who call themselves Catholic, right? You have to go to the roots of how your religion started, man. You can't just go by what the priest is telling you. You can't. You got to go to the canons, yo. Start reading about a group of people called the Albigensians. Start reading about another group of people called the Khazars or the Cathars. Then what you will find, you will be reading about black people who were what was called codified under the term Grail Christians, who used the Ankh instead of the cross, who practice paramage and all of that, but they happen to live in the highlands of Europe in these castles and stuff, you know, in Bavaria and these places. Then you'll start reading about the Holy Roman Empire, and then you'll start to know the difference between that and the Roman Empire. And then from there, it's going to take you back to the Crusades, which again is the Moors, and then it's going to take you back to, you know, more black people. So again, this is the value of real history. And again, white folk know. But the Catholic thing is built on guilt, like the Jewish thing is built on guilt. So they are made to feel guilty for thinking for thinking rationally. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to religion, you could be talking to the most religious person. Secular person, or a person that you would think secular. The minute you start, they are identified in the form of a religion, and you begin to talk about it rationally, they will become irrational with you. And this is like real people with money, people who people listen to, people who write books. But most of these people don't know what they're talking about. you know? And I know they do because they ain't hollering at you, right?
No.
Niggas ain't calling you. National Geographic ain't calling you, right? And these niggas watch our shit.
Yeah.
Same way niggas used to be up in MTV, and when BET would come on, MTV was shut down. The whole floor was shut down because everybody on the floor was watching BET. To the point, then what happened? One white man in the group say, okay, we need to purchase BET. What, a year later, Robert Johnson selling the whole shit, and then it's putting Deborah Lee in there acting like she doing something.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
Well, just recently, Michael Jordan just bailed him out because he going broke.
See? Because he's a degenerate gambler. That's right. Your Michael Jordan is a degenerate gambler. And everybody knows it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't saying nothing nobody know. That nigga will gamble shit, everything away.
Put the baby on the table.
See? You better pick up a ball or something. You better start signing a bunch of sneakers, nigga, because these niggas will have you work. They already winning on him. They already got rid of his pops, same way they got rid of Tiger Pops.
Yep.
And see, what makes these guys really horrible is the fact that deep down they know. But the thing is, they can't really identify who it is. It could be a nigga that's with them every day, and they don't know, and that's what drives them crazy. That's what makes them depressed. That's why they have to do things like pull a Kanye, bone out Rihanna and shit. You know what I'm saying? And then Chris Brown do the same thing to his shorty. Like, this is the type of music y'all niggas want to do? I thought it was just about rapping. Like, God knows. Can you imagine what they doing to Justin Bieber, son? Can you imagine what they doing to that little white boy? Every show interview I've seen him do with the older woman flirt with him like she's trying to bone him.
Yeah. He said he was trying to get Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, well, Kanye beat him to it. I like that nigga, yo. To keep it real, I like Kanye West, yo. That nigga, he is a real piece of shit, but he knows it, you know, and he flaunts it in their face. It's Kanye West. And he's severely talented. Like, they all, you know, the niggas is waiting for his album to come out before they put out shit. It's like that right now.
Yeah.
Niggas is waiting. Niggas like, nah, I'm gonna sit. I'm gonna wait.
That's what Kanye is doing.
You know? And he's the most honest in it. Him and Eminem, son.
Yeah.
The niggas is the most honest. These lying niggas is the most honest niggas in that whole shit. That's why they the most paid. That's why I know that whole Taylor Swift thing was a ritual. She can't, and yeah, she getting paid, she touring, she doing all that now, but when the last time you seen her on TV? You won't be seeing her like that.
Yeah.
But she can't sustain nothing herself. She don't have no talent to maintain a group, an audience of people that's not under the control of country music. Niggas ain't listening to Taylor Swift.
Oh, they ain't really know about it until the whole thing happened with Kanye.
Exactly. Then you start seeing this bitch videos every day. Like, come on, man. I think the only thing that's going to get us out of the situation is being bluntly honest with ourselves about as much shit as we can take. Because anything other than that is going to get somebody killed. And that's what this whole thing seems like it does. It seems that the whole machine is based on that. Either getting killed, going to jail. You know? Just the options they left for black folk. But white folk, they could go anywhere in the world. And niggas will rob us quicker than them.
Yeah.
Or will hate on us more than them because, see, when they mess with people like us, people know they got to do something. That's why a lot of these people are being able to just come into people's lives through their YouTube videos and clips and stuff and spit their rhetoric and spit what they want, and people will identify that because people have been so dummied down that it's more about how this person makes you feel than the quantity of what this person is saying or bringing to you. That's why you don't need talent. You know, that's why I was think, like one time we did a joint and dude sent me emails like, you know, you shouldn't be rapping. You know, you actually you should just do that and blah blah blah. I'm like, I hear you. You know, it's your opinion, but if the creator's giving me the mode to express my main point in all of these different venues, like that would be like saying, that's like God saying, you have now the ability to speak any language you want in the world. And I say, okay, I'm going to just speak English. You know what I'm saying? Like, people want you to be stupid, yo.
Yeah.
People want you to be slow. People want you to be ignorant. People want you to gossip with them and all of that. And we have to practice the technique of just leaving. Like, just when next time somebody starts talking bullshit with you, instead of getting into that, just walk away from them. Just bounce. You know what I'm saying? Not even like angry or nothing. Just be like, let them finish and then just bounce. And then never talk to that person again. See what happens. They'll be calling you, leaving all kinds of crazy messages on your phone. And I know because I have done it. I've been so angry at somebody that I've called them and told them exactly why I was angry. And then after I hang up the phone, I'm mad at myself because I've given this person now what, evidence to prove what, that I was angry. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like this is how the fiction will make you work against yourself, make you think in yourself. Like, you know what I'm saying? When really, the more you give energy to something that is running from you, the more you run from yourself. You know? The more you become a slave to what somebody else's perception of you is. The idea is to stop running, turn around, and do you. Because if you're really doing you, that means you're doing us. You know what I'm saying? That means we all gonna meet and we gonna make something happen. Yep. But we cannot keep giving energy to shit that is a distraction to getting us where we need to go. We need to get beyond certain points. You know? And again, this is just my opinion, my brother's opinion. You know, my family, they can say what they want. Yet, the people who seem the most pious sometimes be the most dirty. And sometimes it be the dirty nigga that be the one to save your life. So the only way you're going to know is by knowing yourself. Because if you keep your energy to a certain level, you're only going to attract that which is like to you, not opposite. Opposite is for when you don't understand what unity is. Once you understand unity, that's when you attract the light. The light within the opposite. Not the opposite that becomes the light, you know? But, that's that. You want to play a joint, man?
Okay. You go into a joint, and then we open up the phone line, I guess.
That's what's up.
Answer some
Sounds
questions.
great.
So, you want to call in, the number is 347-637-1184. I guess we're getting to another joint off the 44 EP. Once again, if you didn't get it, you know what I'm saying, it's up there right now for free download. You know, for all the supporters, the people that actually purchased copies. Thank you. I sent a lot of copies out last week and the week before that, so if you haven't gotten it, you should just be looking in your mailbox. You'll be receiving it soon. For anybody else that wants to support, I'll throw all the information in the chat room to get it, but you can check out my blog, sagasadali.blogspot.com, and it has all the information, everything up there as well. So we're going to get into this joint, and then we're going to come back and open the phone line.
That's what's up. Heru Radio. Shout out to the Pills. Shout out to my man King Reyes. Shout out to everybody that supports, man. We love it. Let's get in.
Thank you, sis. Let's go on.
No ordinary love.
Stressing Pressures of life get me aggravated, then I get agitated. I'm really glad I made it. I'm really glad I got a shorty by my side that understands truth. Strongest part of family tree is the root, black queen. I wanna give you everything. My wife, even without the wedding ring. You work so hard, then you come home and tend to me. You my wife and my best friend, you see. In this world, they try so hard to keep us apart. Willie Lynch done played his part, so let's start to listen. Calm down, speak to each other. Only way we gonna stay together. And I need you as so much more than a lover. Only one part things that we do undercover. Life shouldn't be a circus like Raven Brothers. All we do is argue, fight, and cuss each other. Who's a punk, who's a bitch, who should suck, who's mother? Use the same mouth to give me so much pleasure. Now it give me so much pain. Thoughts on my brain. Thoughts on my brain. Every man need a woman, like every house need a floor plan. Like the U.S. need a straw man, it's simple. I'm really using more than physical. Laugh at all my jokes, don't mind that I smoke. Starving artisan, I stay broke. And sometimes I might get all caught up in this music. I can't refuse it, this love, I cannot lose it. So I'm sending this message to you. Said I'm sending this message to you, to you. You're my woman, I'm trying to be your man, I'm trying to do it right, I have a better plan. Loss is not an option, I hope you understand.
Yeah. Shit was dope, man.
Thanks, my brother.
That's the first time I heard that. That shit is the shit.
All right.
See, that's what I'm talking about, man. Doing shit like that. You know what I mean? Like that. Why? Like, you got knowledge. We be talking about shit we probably would never talk about on the radio. You know? You done found shit on a computer and researching shit that we can't even talk about for another, 20 years. Really keep it real. And you still find time to make music. And it's good. You know? But, yeah, man, let's get it in.
Okay, you got 304-252. The Rock Super Heru Radio.
Peace.
Peace.
I'll be listening.
All right, we got 804. Rock Super Radio. Peace.
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 Sound like Ice Cube.
It did.
Some old school death certificate shit.
You got 720. You on Super Heru Radio. Peace.
Peace, fam. Can y'all hear me straight?
Peace. I can hear you, brother.
Yeah, what's good? Ain't nothing. But just wanted to see what y'all take was on this whole Goldman Sachs exposure. I mean, I see him basically it's just the front cover up, of course, but yeah, can you go in on that a little bit? You know, take on that?
Yes, sir. That's a great question. Thank you for calling too, brother.
No doubt.
Essentially, we should start listening for a Latin term used when corporations become totally de facto. It's called de jure, force de jure. So we're on the verge of what they call a force de jure, which is basically would mean technically a banking holiday, a run on the bank. Well, no, the banking holiday comes out of that. So essentially what they do with Goldman Sachs is Goldman Sachs has always been under investigation since the time of the McCarthy hearings, and even before that, during the interim time between the time that FDR became president. That's because they were implicitly hooked up with Prescott Bush in funding the Nazi war machine. You know what I'm saying? So they were indicted under a thing called the Trading with the Enemy Act already. You know, so under the Trading with the Enemy Act, when they were found guilty, that indictment was sealed based upon Prescott being able to manipulate the inner workings and convert as many people into that skull and bone shit as possible. So because he already had people like Howard P. Taft and these people already in the pocket, he was able to then move his money to the Goldman Sachs thing. Goldman Sachs then helped engineer the market crash, right, by putting it out speculatively that people's going to start pulling their money out of the United States government. So once they did that, they created a vacuum almost where people started running and getting their money out of the bank, right? So essentially once all of the money was taken out, they was then able to fill it back up with what they call public trust, which is actually the public's money. You see what I'm saying? The money that they had before wasn't even real. It was
right.
Money. So they basically milked the public into giving them to get all their money. So Goldman Sachs technically has been using public money to do everything they've been doing since then. So now that they've been ordered to pay the money to the people, the money that they've given the people technically is coming out of the money that the people already own.
So, I mean, is it basically, that's
money coming out of the back door of the whole healthcare thing. You know what I'm saying? Because the healthcare thing was connected and based a lot on what happened with the auto thing, and the auto thing is based on the banking thing. And the banking thing, again, is based on this interim period where they really didn't have any money to start anything. So there's a book you could get called The Creature of Jekyll Island. I forget the author. But in that book, it gets specifically into it. So by the time Trafficant, who is the last head of the United States government to openly admit that, the debt is what it was, he basically was the first person who noted that they were transferring a country into a open corporation. You see? So then with the Goldman Sachs thing is giving the people the ability to sue them, this is exactly what they did to the cigarette industry. When the cigarette industry, they blackmailed them, and the cigarette industry was like, well, we ain't going to give you no more money.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? And that's when the whole shit to come out on them, and people was able to get all of this money from them, and they ain't never been the same since. So it's the same thing happening now with Goldman Sachs in terms of a banking cartel that is now being charges that are actively taken seriously. But these charges, even if they win in court, they're not going to get no real money unless they charge these niggas for human rights crimes attached to this in The Hague, which is the real court of law, where then they can receive a true remedy, and Goldman Sachs will be broken up totally and given its assets back to those people who bring the suit. But they ain't going to do that. They're going to keep this shit here in America where it don't really mean nothing. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just thought it was funny that they was jumping on Goldman Sachs like that was like, you got all these other international bankers that's got dirt on them too, but it just, the front was just,
They pick and choose. Because if those, really the banking thing too goes down to those banks that was owned by Moors before the Civil War, and those banks that was owned by Moors that was dealing with Caucasoids before the Civil War. And then after the Civil War, those banks all fell under the same jurisdiction because through the intermarriage, they all became basically one family. But because the Moorish strain had to be brought into the family bloodline every 7 years, they were able to kill off as many of those as they can. So those Moors that did make it to the top then were then brought into the bloodline, you see what I'm saying, to breed and then cast back out, unless they were totally loyal. Unless they were people like Vernon Johns, or there's another big guy that's black that they didn't really talk about. You know, anytime you see a nigga that's around some white folk and they talk about who all the white folk is and they don't talk about the black dude is in a heavy position. You know, he's in a real heavy position. But,
that's what's up, man. I'm going to do some further research, but that's what's up, man.
Thank you, King. And I'll be back, man, when you find out some more stuff.
Peace.
Peace. We got 304. You on Super Heru Radio. Peace.
Hello?
Peace.
Hey, peace, Super Heru Radio, Saga Sa. Dr. Aseer, so glad to get through to you guys. Dr. Aseer, this question is for you.
Okay.
I wanted to know, yes, sir, what you can tell me about Scorpio in the sky. That's where my birthday falls under, October 30th, but I hear you talk a lot about what's going on now and how it affects all of us. So if you could say something about the role that Pluto or Scorpio through Mars or Pluto is playing.
Okay, thank you, brother, and that's a good question. And that also leads me to what I was going to say, too, is being Moors, you know, we're going to throw in a segment, but we always build on a little bit of zodiacal type of stuff. You know what I mean, for those Moors and people that are astrologically active.
Right.
So, essentially, Scorpio, again, is the sign that represents death and regeneration, right? So, in that sign has different symbols in physical reality, right? So, where Scorpio is placed in the sky, it's 8th in the constellation, you know. So 8 is the number of build and destroy, right? It's also a symbol of infinity when you put the 8 on his side, right?
Right.
So essentially, anything that Scorpio is attached to is about coming out of one state and going into another, or exiting one state and going back into another. Scorpios is like one of the only signs that have the ability to time travel back and forth almost unconsciously, you know. Like Scorpios could talk. Like people could be talking to you because you say you're a Scorpio, right?
Right.
You could be talking to somebody, and then halfway through the convo, you done figured out this person's whole angle as to why they talking to you.
That happens all the time. I can figure that out off of somebody's voice.
Yeah, because you are talking to the thing inside the person. You're talking to what the person wants. You see what I'm saying? The person is talking to you. You see what I'm saying? But you talking to what the person wants. So you hear shit different, you know?
Brother,
so what you got to look out for now, what you got to look out for right now is Scorpio's tail in the form of saying things to people that they're not ready to hear from you. They could hear it, but right now if they hear it from you, they might take it the wrong way because the energy of the moon also, but Scorpio also has people don't talk about that a lot. Scorpio has a connection with the moon too. That's deep because Scorpio is a water sign. You know what I'm saying? When you ever think about scorpions, you don't ever really associate them with water like that. But that water is the melanin or the spiritual lubricant that allows the Scorpio to transverse one reality to the other.
Guess who I'm
the
talking
water,
to?
It's the water.
Yep.
It's the water inside of the scorpion's body that the scorpion transmutes into a poison. You know what I'm saying?
Whoa.
So, as a Scorpio, you have the ability to translate and transmute the water, in this case being energy or information, and transmute it into almost a poison form that's so direct that it could come off, that it could almost sting somebody. You see what I'm saying? So you have a lot of people who tell you shit like, I don't like the way you make me feel, and things like that. But it's not really you. But see, you, at the same time, though, you as a Scorpio, and I don't mean you specifically, I mean the general you you as a Scorpio have the ability to hurt somebody, right? See that you hurt them and hurt them again and not know why.
Right.
And that is because it's the ancient story of the frog and the scorpion. You heard that story, right?
I have heard that story. I have.
Right.
Brother,
okay, real quick.
Right.
The scorpion is on the side of the river, and he sees the frog and asks the frog to carry him across. The frog is like, nah, I don't want to do it. And the scorpion's like, yeah. He's like, but you're going to sting me. So the scorpion put him on his back, the frog put him on his back and bring him through, and then halfway in the middle, boom, he stings him, and they both start sinking. He said, well, hey.
It's my nature.
He wasn't going to do it. He said, it's my nature.
Right.
The other thing you got to do to announce to as a Scorpio is that you might not, people who are Scorpios and people who are Sagittariuses.
My father's Sagittarius, my mother's moon. But yes, sir. Go ahead. Sorry, sir. Not to cut your wisdom.
No, that's real. That's relevant. People who are Scorpio or Sagittarius share certain magnetic attraction to an anomaly that exists between the two signs. That anomaly is the 13th sign that they're not talking about. So because of that, because we've been reduced, because remember, we were functioning under a 13 moon, so under a 13 moon calendar, you figured you have 13 signs. But now that we're under a 365 and a quarter day moon, 24 hours in a day, 7 days in a week, you see what I'm saying? There is no 13 on the clock. But it's still there, but niggas ain't really doing the knowledge to it. So essentially, that 13th sign exists between Scorpio and Sagittarius. So you have some people who are Scorpios who are really not, you see, and some people who are Sagittariuses who are really not. You understand? Because they are the sign that's in between the two. You see? So, you know, the energy of it right now is more or less, my advice to you would be to temper your whole approach to people.
Right.
And don't scream to be heard in any situation. Like I said, if the shit gets too hectic, walk away from it literally.
Right.
Because symbolically, anything you do has a definitive meaning on the reality that we're in right now. But what were you going to say? I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry, brother, not to cut your wisdom, and I got that saying from you guys, but I'm saying it to everybody now, and everybody else is saying it. But anyway, you answered my question in your answer to my question. I was going to ask you a follow-up question about just how to speak to my family members when it comes to things like Christianity and the history of, and you helped a lot with that in your answer. You just stole that question from me, though, while you were speaking, so overall, I just want to say to you, just keep doing what you're doing, man, and follow yourself, because you're definitely leading a lot of people to do the same, and I don't know what's better than that. Much love to you, Asaga Sa. Getting your CD, already listening to everything on the internet from both of you brothers, and I got your CD, Duke, and that's the only thing I listen to now, and it totally changes you. It changes you, man, and it's for the better. I can't even go into it. I'm wasting y'all's time. Thanks a lot for taking my call, though, brothers.
Thank you, brother.
That means a lot, man. Thank you.
Right. We got 310. Black Radio.
Peace. What's going on with the brother?
Peace. What's up, brother?
How y'all doing, man?
I'm good, King. How you doing?
Oh, man, you know, we maintain it out here, just trying to keep it right, as always, you know, getting that ritual in, you know.
That's what it is. That's what it is. I like sharing it with you, man.
Yes, sir.
Keep participating, you know.
Definitely, man. Y'all, man, just to piggyback, not to piggyback, but, you know, we don't touch that swine, you know, but just to go ahead and go off the previous caller, man. Yeah, exactly. Veggie back off of it. you know, brother was right on point with his question, because that's going to lead me into my question in terms of what you were speaking on with the zodiac. Now, I've been trying to do the knowledge with myself, because my birthday falls actually March the 20th. You know, it's the last
that's
day.
New Year.
Yeah,
that's New Year.
Exactly. Right. You know what I'm saying? And you know, what's the science behind all that, brother? You know, just from your studies. You know, can you just give me a little insight on all that, man? You know, because I know that's that's the spring equinox.
Yep, that's exactly what it is. It's like everything material is broken up into 2s and 4s. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So when they teach us 1 and 1 is 2, that's not true because you're not counting the 1, which is the plus or the cross in between those two numbers. So that would mean that 1 and 1 is 3. So if you can wrap your mind around that concept, then when you apply it to things like the Zodiacus, you know, in the context of the Clock of Destiny, the way people like C.M. Dave, peace be upon him, and Noble Joe Ali, C. Freeman L., peace be upon them, the way that they was building on it from it being the perspective of a chart to map the inner workings of the universe within inside yourself.
Yeah.
So our New Year is when things are literally new. Their New Year is when things are still the same, cold and shit, and dead, sterile, in hibernation, because they were incubated, they incarnated here physically, right? And then because they were maladapted to deal with life on the surface, they had to be incubated in caves for thousands of years.
Right.
So that symbolically is why you have a situation in the physical world where they are debating whether or not you are alive, you know, like the whole abortion thing. That's really a veiled argument about how they were incarnated here and when they should be deemed human, you see.
Okay.
The zodiac of the new year governs that type of energy. You see what I'm saying? So in the time that we were in the spring in the new year, which is, let's say, March 20th to 22nd now, right?
Right.
They were stuck in stagnation in winter. You see what I'm saying? So their new year had to correspond with the time in which they came out into the world, you see, in the time of the harsh cold or whatever. So your birthday is actually the beginning of what they would call the cycle of the new. It's like right before the cycle of what they call Jason, which is January, August, September, October, November. That's why January, you know, is the symbolic month of the goat, Capricorn. You see what I'm saying? But in Western astrology, the dates are off. Everything switches over from the 21st to the 22nd. The only time it did that in our calendar was on March 20th to 22nd. I'm born on March 22nd, by the way.
Oh, man. I'll praise you to Allah, brother.
So we would be called first degree Aries. You see, most Aries, a lot of Aries are in April, but we are what's called the first degree. So we have a lot of latent energy from the Piscean motif. You see what I'm saying? So we have a lot of Saturn in our first house. Like if you look at your natal chart, you probably have Saturn in your first house, like I did.
Okay.
That's because we're like the ones that set it off. So Aries and Virgo are the most hated signs and shit because we're always the leader, but most times we don't want to lead because we don't want to be responsible for niggas. You know what I'm saying? And people don't like that. People want us to do it, but then when we do it, they don't want to follow what we say. So they they do the opposite, and then because they're prideful, they don't come back and tell us until way later. And then they come back, they want to be cool, but then we don't want to be cool with them. See the same?
Right, we keep it moving.
Like, yeah, we keep it moving because that's what rams, if you look at a ram, that's what it does. The ram will go up to the top of the mountain and look back for the other rams to come up. He won't go back down and get them, but he'll make sure that they see him so they can see that they can reach the point that he did, right? The Capricorn, our cousin, the Capricorn, the goat, he'll reach to the top of the mountain, look back, or maybe not, and keep moving. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference, you know, and how we do shit, you know?
Right.
That's why the sign of Aries is I am, and then the sign of, or the mantra for Aries is I am, and the mantra for Capricorn is I use. See,
okay.
This don't mean that they bad people. This just means that they're more materially orientated a lot of times than us.
Okay.
And that's why we don't necessarily get along all the time with them.
So the 20th, that's an Aries sign, not a Pisces.
Right. Technically,
okay.
technically, you know, a lot of astrologers would say that it's still a Pisces sign, that it doesn't switch over to the 22nd. But you're going from a 1 octave to a 2 octave, you dig? So it's still a change. It's still a physical change. So I believe it starts from the 20th to the 22nd.
Wow, okay, because you're in that season. You're in that zone, that change zone. I got you.
Right. But at the same time, remember, there's still a 13th sign, so we still got to do the calculations to see what date that might actually be. You see?
Oh, yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
right.
The sign that we haven't computed yet. We're still computing this based on the given information, but the given information is flawed based upon the fact that they're hiding who and what we really are. So we got to calculate it to a 13 moon, 28-day cycle to get the actual, you know, date. So when we do that, we definitely gonna holler at you. But thanks for calling, brother.
Peace, man. Y'all be safe, man.
You too, King.
All right, peace.
Peace.
We got we got 434-770. That's the paper radio.
Oh, hello.
Hey, peace, Queen.
Hey. Fine. I was just wondering, I hope this doesn't sound silly. I noticed that on VH1 a lot of shows have come out, like something about Chili Needs a Man, was looking for a man, and then there's another show called Basketball Wives. And I just noticed, is there anything they're trying to accomplish by these shows coming out?
Definitely. And it's all really about you as an original woman. It's all about endearing your consciousness to accept mating with a monster. They want you to accept anything literally in between your legs. So every show now is a contest where it's a bunch of desperate people who are really not worthy of being in a real serious relationship, because if they were, they wouldn't be on the show. And then they're following a loose script that is based around an agenda by a woman who created reality TV. Her name is Leslie Gardner. Leslie Gardner, was a feminist as well as a so-called socio-anthropologist. So the whole concept is this whole reality show is an advent of things like feminism mixed with Nazism, but also objectifying you, right? But at the same time of objectifying you, making that object, putting that object on a pedestal for you to want to be like. So the Beyoncés, the Rihannas, the Oprahs, or every black woman being marketed to you on TV, if you look at their agenda, what things they do, they all are basically following the same program. So that's the program that's there for you. So if you watch it and you believe that people really are like that,
Right.
You know, if you believe that people are really like that, and you're not looking at it from the perspective of a study, an amusing study, you know, that's entertaining, but just that. You almost got to look at them as if they're cartoon characters, and that's also what they want you to do. They also want you to do that as well, because then that objectifies yourself in the process, unless you have the consciousness and awareness of yourself enough to know what they're doing and the levels in which it's being presented to you. So then it's bullshit. You know, and then it's just bullshit, and, you know, you keep your own self.
And then, so therefore, I'm married, and my husband is, he's very conscious. And so what does that mean for our relationship, or just for us to become stronger? He's a Capricorn, I'm a Leo.
Oh, yeah, that'll work, because you allow him to be a man, you know.
Right.
You allow him to express himself, because the way that you express yourself, he also allows you to do that. But it's like a relationship between literally a lion and a goat. Technically, they would have a good relationship because they could work together to get food. You know what I'm saying? So it's a tactile, you know, it's a tactile relationship. You know, y'all are very affectionate. You know, and very you like being in each other's company. People hate on that. You have to understand, especially if y'all both black, because then if y'all black, then,
we are.
You see what I'm saying? Then you represent the exact opposite of the very foundation of what the society is built on. That is the white woman, the white man, the white man, the white man, the white man, the white woman, the white baby, the white man, the white man. You know what I'm saying? So you accepting a monster, you know, by believing this is true, you will then attract those entities that are hooked up into that receiver, and you'll attract those experiences in your life. So, but you're good because you're in a relationship. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you. I really enjoy y'all show.
Thank you, Queen. Let's see you, King.
Right. Peace. Thank you.
Peace.
Bye.
Miami. We got 909. The Rock on Super Label Radio. Peace. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.
Can y'all hear me?
I love so.
All right. Hey, how you guys? Hey, I just want to say thank you for that song that you have about your son. You know that one I played in the barbershop I played in the barbershop for everybody, man, and a lot of people was really feeling the connection on how you was coming. It was a real deep song. So I just want to say thank you for that. But I wanted to ask you, brothers. My birthday is on Halloween, so I was just wondering the knowledge on that.
That's a great birthday to have. Thanks for the call, brother. That is a heavy day, because that's a part of a ritual they have called Sow-In, and that's that's the 31st, right? So that's 3 and 1, so that's 13, but it's 13 reversed. So on a spiritual, positive, let's say white magic tip, that's actually good, because that means that you are in let's say a dark time, but you can rise above that, right? Because you understand knowledge. Because 3 is understanding, 1 is knowledge. So you understand your knowledge, right? But because it's on what they call also Sow-In, which is Day of the Dead, it is used as a ritual to bring about the rising of orb-like entities to inhabit people through blood ritual sacrifice, usually of children or women, and also to create what's called moon children. All the people you see on TV are moon children. They are children that were born after 1945, after an experiment that these satanic crackers did on the same ship they made disappear, in which they tried to invoke the physical harlot of Babylon, which is the Statue of Liberty in a negative form or whatever. Anyway, that harlot of Babylon is also called the Scarlet Woman. So every time you see a woman in red, a red dress or whatever, she is embodying the harlot. and she's usually on the path to get sex. So that became the icon, right, of the women that were to be possessed by that type of entity that would be opening themselves to have a lot of sex and shit. So you being born on that day, as a conscious person, though, you have the opposite experience of what's happening with everybody else, so long as you, as a Scorpio, understand the corresponding nature of light and dark, life and death, the way in the river in between the two, you know, which is really about you understanding your real self, who you really are, the real you, the you that you present to the world, vice versa. You know, how you understand the relationships you have and how you use them or not use them towards your benefit. Because you're because you are the underworld. You're born in a time that the underworld, that's like the new year for the underworld. You know what I mean? So you have the ability to be Osiris, the Asar. So I would read books about Osiris, read books about Akhenaten, read books about Baron Samedi, read books about Anubis, especially Anubis right now. Read about the Phoenician people and their relationship with a god called Moloch, M-O-L-O-C-H.
Okay, thank you, brother, man. I appreciate that. And I was wondering, too, that DVD you have on George Washington, do you think that's the best one to get a good knowledge of the conventional, at least, I mean, the true history of America, at least 1492 and up?
I would think so. As the guy did it definitely.
All right, thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
What I would do, real quick, I would get mine and then get one of theirs about Washington and compare the two. And then when you watch theirs, you'll see what they left out and how they flipped the shit that I talked about.
Oh, okay, okay.
Comparative research. Like, I would suggest that to everybody. If you go on any of my stuff and get the DVDs and get what National Geographic or whatever it is, their version of it, look at the two, you'll definitely see that we put in the real shit and the shit that's more tailored to what's actually applying to us. Because when they talk about us, they're talking about us from the perspective of a God in man that has no knowledge of itself. Therefore, it can be used and sacrificed as a sacrifice to the part of it that does know what it is. See?
Okay.
Are functioning like everything is regular. So, thanks for calling, brother.
Thank you, brother. Love you guys, man. Take care. You too, Shy Guy Shy. Take care, bro. Love you.
Take care, brother. Only down for 7 minutes. It seems like, I don't know, like 2 hours isn't enough at times. So many people. I'm going to take one more call, and after that, get somebody else in. Phone lines is really buzzing right now. We got 901. That's the Baby Radio. Peace.
Peace, brothers.
Peace.
Calling from down bottom Memphis 10 again. Just want to say much love to you, brothers, man. We've been needing that, man. I really appreciate you. Y'all quenching the thirst. You guys have no idea, man. It's much needed.
Support, man. Thank you and yours and everybody down in Memphis, man. That's like
no doubt,
capital. That's like the real capital,
No doubt, no doubt. And it's Bootleg headquarters number 4, coincidentally. So we gotta get. Yeah, no doubt.
Imagine what these homosexual degenerates is doing, man.
Sheer debauchery, brother. Sheer debauchery.
I know.
But since we were on the horoscope, brother, I wanted to ask you about August the 30th. I'm a Virgo. I heard you mention that go along with Aries, and I want you to give me a little insight on that.
Yeah, man, that's thanks for your call and your question, brother. But the Virgo is a very, very interesting sign because it's the Earth sign. If you look at Kemet, a lot of people are always about how Kemet is patriarchy and this and that. They keep breaking it up into matriarchy, patriarchy. But if you really do the knowledge in Kemet, people act like the sky god was from the earth, because he went into the water or whatever, and the earth god, you know what I'm saying, was basically saying the sky god was a man and the earth god was a woman. When in Kemet, when you really do the history, Jed, the earth god, was a man, and Nut, or Nuit, was or is the sky goddess. So you have dark matter and dark energy, you know, combined in the black woman. So the Virgo, being a man, is a male Virgo is the embodiment of the earth itself. If you was in a superhero group, you would be like the Thing in the Fantastic Four, you know. You'd be the element that brings the kinetic energy to things. But because you're ruled by Mercury, which is Tahuti, you have the ability to decipher information at a hyperspace level. So you are that would be like an ant that could speak. You know what I mean? Or like a rock that could move itself. You know, you have the ability to attain heights of information that only a Gemini could kind of get what you want. You know what I mean? But even then, as a earth sign, you're grounded, so you don't really like being around people that's flighty or flighty or like unreliable, or is gonna get you jammed up and shit. Like
I call it a low tolerance for the BS.
Yeah, you ask a lot of questions, and because of that, people don't confide in you. Yeah. People feel like you're judging them. But really, you're just asking questions so you know what you're going to do. But they want you to do what they want you to do. That's what they always want to do with Virgos. People always want to make like the shit they do ain't dope. Right. But if a Sag did it, they would be like, oh, that's dope. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said they're the most hated. So also you rule by Venus. So you are beauty. You understand? Whereas a Libra is ruled by Venus. You know? So a Virgo is beautiful, or can be beautiful inside and out. Right. A Libra is probably going to be beautiful on the outside, but fucked up on the inside. Right. Or vice versa. Yeah. Or vice versa. You know what I'm saying? Very airy-like. You don't like that. So you get along with people that have values, you know. Yeah. Virgos are like that. So thanks for calling, man.
No doubt, bro. One other thing, can I get your email, bro? I want to send you something that I thought was interesting.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's House, HOUSEOFEL @hotmail.com.
All right, no doubt. All right, peace, brothers, and y'all be careful out there.
Thank you, Ken.
No doubt.
Peace. Yeah, man, that was dope. Thank all the people for listening. Everybody that donated, thank you for the donations. Again, $1, anything helps. We really appreciate those that have donated, and it's definitely going to the projects that we have in the works to come out for you to be able to educate yourself, your children, and everything else, you know. I would like to say, you know, thank you to all the listeners. You know, once again, y'all could be anywhere y'all would want to be or like to be on a Monday for 2 hours, but y'all continuously spend it with us, and, you know, we appreciate that. You know, again, I want to say thank you, my brother, you know, for doing this show with me, hosting the show with me. And thank you, brother. You know, and that, you know, keep this unity going, man. You know, let's keep it going. Let's support. Let's destroy all that to get where we gotta go. Let's support that which we need to educate and uplift ourselves anywhere we can. And let's continue to, you know, ascend, however that means for us. Because when it comes time, we all want to link up anyway. So it's better to get to know each other now through our art, so we can really see who we all really are, you know. Yeah. Again, art is a time equation. You know, art is time. T factored by E equals art. Check that out. T factored by E equals art. that is the equation for time travel. That Einstein stole from Tesla and everything else. So again, you know, stay abreast, Super Heru Radio. Aseer the Tears. Ragas Al Ali.
Peace, family.
Peace.